Have you thought about hiring but don't know where to start? Maybe you're telling yourself you can't afford anyone right now. Join Emily and I today for this special episode. It's as easy as hiring someone for 5 hours a month or even a week to get help to lighten the load. Grab your earbuds and come join us.
Welcome to the Launch Your Box podcast with weekly tips, tricks, and strategies to start, launch, and grow your subscription box. Now, here's your host, Sarah Williams.
Welcome back to the Launch Your Box podcast. I have one of my favorite people on the podcast today. Emily has been kind of a staple in the Launch Your Box library as a resource for subscription box owners looking for a VA. So, Emily, welcome to the podcast. I think this is your first appearance on the podcast. Why don't you, for anyone that has not met you, does not know you, tell me who you are and tell us what you do.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I have a mission to help business owners find reliable help in their business. And it all started when I was behind the scenes in some online businesses, and everyone kept asking, can you come help me? Can you come help me? And so then I just started training my friends how to do this work in the online space, because I know that a lot of online business owners are struggling, wearing all of the hats, doing all the things, running all the departments. And so I took my freelancer skill set and then started training people. And so you've hired a few of my VAs and referred a few of them. And right now I am mainly focused on the marketing freelancers, the marketing assistants, the specialists, the marketing managers who can come in and help you with your marketing department. And so it all kind of started 8 years ago when I saw the need as online business was exploding and there wasn't enough of me to go around. At one point I had an agency. I don't know if you knew that. And it was just a lot of work. My husband was deployed at the time. I had 4 kids. I'm like, I can't run an agency, but I'll just start referring people. And if I can train them how to do the work and I can trust them, then I feel good about that referral. So fast forward now, I have a Unicorn Digital Marketing Assistance. And then I have the Digital Marketers Work Group, which you've come in and spoken in too, where we just keep advancing in our marketing. And I just find that so many of us come from a professional background. We have the admin skills, we have the common knowledge, but we don't always know the marketing and what's relevant and what business owners really need help for. So I kind of combine women who have a very, what do I want to say? I want to say like juicy past, colorful past when it comes to their career experience and previous job experience and education. I combine that with marketing and what's relevant. And then we make like the perfect teammate, AKA the unicorn, to help somebody like you and your listeners in their business.
Okay, I'm going to simplify this because Emily talks fast. She knows what she's talking about. Some of you are like, what are we even talking about? Like, what is a VA? So, a
Mhm.
VA is a virtual assistant. And when I met Emily, that's really what we called your people, right? Virtual assistants. And that was just someone that worked for you that worked virtually. They're not in the same town. They don't come to your office. They're working out of their home typically. And so they're giving you assistance through your virtual help. And that could be communicated through Zoom calls, FaceTime calls, emails, texts, Voxer channels. We just communicate with VAs that way. And what she was explaining is that she's kind of revolutionized the VA work into a very specific category for business owners, and that's the digital marketing assistant. So let's just, before we get into this a little bit, let's talk about your program specifically, because it's not just like you're going to Emily and saying, hey, I need a digital marketing assistant. Can you find me one? You have specifically trained them. So let's talk a little bit about your program and what you provide for that.
Yeah, let's go back to that term VA, because I feel like it's a job title a lot of us use, but it's not really descriptive of the work. Just the other day, I was in an online community and someone's like, I need a VA who does Facebook ads. And I had to comment, well, that would be an ads manager. There is an independent contractor with a specialty skill set. And in some cases, we need to hire that person. In other cases, we need someone kind of just hands-on in our business. And so we use the term VA, but it's such an umbrella term and it could mean almost anything. And like you said, we usually mean an independent contractor who can come in part-time. It's because we're not ready for employees. We're not ready to do all that HR and all the taxes that come with that, but we do need assistance. And so that could be an admin person, that could be an executive assistant, it could be a personal assistant, it could be a bookkeeper, or it could be someone in the marketing department. And what I have found is that there are 6 main departments in business: operations, customer service, HR, accounting and finance, product development, which is usually like us as the CEO, and then marketing and sales. And so you don't want to hire a VA who's doing all of that. You want to be concentrated, like what departments make the most sense. And so usually when we're starting a business, one of the first things we need to hire is the bookkeeper, the accounting, the help in that. That's usually not our specialty. And if numbers is yours, like kudos for you. Eventually, like you kind of need assistance in that department anyway. But then we can kind of combine customer service, we can combine operations and marketing and try to find like our next couple hires. And so what I did was really develop a program that taught the marketing, because hello, it's 2025 now. We don't need a marketing degree. Don't tell my mom, but I didn't need to go to college. Like everything we learned was hands-on, practical, common sense. Like there's so much good information out there that if you can understand the foundations of online business, which you teach on this show, building an email list, growing an audience, selling to them, nurturing to them, anyone can do it.
Can I just say that I have one of those marketing degrees that my mom paid a lot of money for? And I'm gonna tell you what I learned in college, and this might age me a little bit, but what I learned is how to run a newspaper article, set up a billboard, and run a magazine ad. That's what I learned in college, and that might age me a little bit, but that's how fast I'm not that old, Emily. That's how fast marketing changes. And so having a traditional marketing degree is great. We learned the law of supply and demand, but we can learn so much more online faster, cheaper, and it's going to be more relevant. And you can keep updating your knowledge that way.
I can top you. I did broadcast journalism and electronic media. I graduated in 2003. I'll just do the math for you. I'm 44. And we got the new digital college after I graduated. But my senior year, we were splicing with a razor blade reels.
The actual VHS
analog, yes.
I have done that too.
And I'm like, oh my God. And I did, at least I had the fortitude to do like electronic media at the time. But yeah, it has changed so much. And not only that, the expectation of us as business owners to be omnipresent, to be on all the different platforms, to show up and do all of the marketing, like we need help. It's not something you and I have time to do when we're the CEO, even if we love it. Like you and I have this background where we're privy to PR and newspaper writing and all of that. We still need help. No one successful does it alone. And so what I've done with my Unicorn Digital Marketing Assistant School is teach those foundations, like here on the show, like email marketing. How do you send nurture email every week? How do we segment? How do we tag? How do we go into all those techie things and build funnels and automations? And then beyond that, a marketing assistant can come figure out like, how do you get the organic traffic? How do people find you? How do you do SEO? How can you do blogging? And then it's also changing because hello AI. So it's like, how can you jump into someone's business, do all their market research? Like you don't have to be a 4-year marketing degree anymore to do all of that. So that's what my program is really teaching. A lot of women in my, like you and I, we come from like a mass comm, PR. We've had a lot of different jobs, a lot of teachers, a lot of nurses, and we have that common knowledge and we have the soft skills to be successful. We just need that entry point into marketing. So we know the lingo, we know what business owners are trying to do when it comes to building an online audience, to selling, to scaling, to offering digital products, digital courses, subscription boxes, different revenue streams. And so that's really what my course does, is make women relevant, especially if you've had a baby break, you're going through a career change. It's how you can get started without having to go back to college.
I love it. And so when we think about, let's think about my audience here, Emily, that might be listening or watching, when they think about how could a digital marketing assistant help in my subscription box business, you named a couple of things. You talked about email marketing. We talk about social media. That's a way that they can help. A lot of people say, I don't like social media. I tell them to get over themselves because social media is awesome. And if you had to run a newspaper ad or set up a billboard like I've had to in the past, you would love social media too.
Yes.
There's people that know the strategies, but maybe they don't know tech enough to implement it. Maybe they know they want to build an email list, but they're not sure how to build the opt-in and what the funnel looks like on the back end of that opt-in. So they have the ideas, they need someone to help implement them. Maybe they don't understand what blogging and SEO can do for their business, their searchability, to help them get visible on the organic side of things. So those are the types of things that your digital marketing assistant could really do for subscription box owners. Did I leave anything out of that?
I mean, you hit a lot of it. So here's the thing, the Pareto principle, 20% of our work results in 80% of the outcome. So like as a CEO, we need to be focused on only 20%, outsource, delegate the other 80%. So just because I know how to do SEO, doesn't mean that's the best use of my time, right?
Absolutely.
And so what can I be doing to make the business more visible, to be making more money, to be making key strategic partnerships, affiliates? I can focus there and we can pretty much outsource everything else. And so in the marketing department, we talked about affiliates, like having someone set up the program and manage it. And before we hit record, you and I were talking about kind of like showing up in that next level of ourselves and what does that look like maybe physically, but in your business that also means with your team, like preparing your team for when you're maxed out and you're at capacity. What are you focused on and what is your team doing? And so starting even now small and going through those motions, because tech scares a lot of people. And for those of us who are like, we have that high tenacity, we'll just get in there and figure it out. It doesn't mean we need to be doing it. We need to set ourselves up for the future. We need to be learning how to delegate, how to depend on people, how to build the team of our future when we do have 500 orders and we're trying to figure that out.
Yeah. And I think that people, especially newer business owners, really struggle with this because they're like, "Well, Sarah, I'm not even giving myself a regular paycheck." And I said, "Same. Same for me. I wasn't when I hired my first person." And so I think you have to look at what I love about having a virtual assistant is that they don't have to work full time for you. They're not solely dependent on your paycheck to make their bills, right? So when I hired my first unicorn from your program, I hired her for 10 hours a week. And that was like, okay, I'm going to pay somebody 10 hours a week. They're going to work on building my Pinterest account. They're going to work on setting up a blog for me. And she had very specific roles in what she would do. And I could commit to 10 hours a week. I knew the dollar amount of what that was going to be every single week. And it started there. And once we started to make some traction and things, and I saw how quickly she could get things done, I could do Pinterest. I could set up a blog. I could do all those things. Do I want to? No, that's why it hadn't gotten done because I don't have time and it wasn't high on my priority list, but it was necessary for me to grow organically. Both of those things were to help me grow organically. And so once I realized how much stuff she got done in 10 hours a week was mind blowing to me. But when somebody knows exactly what to do, they are likely to get it done 100 times faster than you fumbling around trying to figure out what to do. So her setting up Pinterest for me, putting pins on there, creating a blog and tagging the pins to the blog, it would take her a lot less time than it would take me because I was unfamiliar with that platform. I was unfamiliar with the strategy. I was not great at making graphics at that time. And so she was researching the keywords that I needed for that SEO for that blog. And that probably would have never happened if I hadn't hired her. And then what happened, I'm like, okay, this is great. Now, can you do the next thing for me? And can you do the next thing for me? And pretty soon she was 15 hours a week. And then she was 20 hours a week. And now she's just working for me solely all the time. And she's learned more things that have benefited my business. Like she learned a whole new software program when I decided I wanted to do the coaching program. She learned so many things for me and she really grew with my business. And that's the benefit of new business owners is start someone out. You can start someone with 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, and just get your foot in the door and get help. And once you see what that help can do for you in a short amount of time, it's going to open your eyes to all these things. And that freed me up to grow. That freed me up to find more customers. That freed me up to start another business. That freed me up to do so much. And then it was so much easier to hire the next VA. because I already knew how much it freed up. Then I needed somebody for customer service because I was sick of doing that. And then I need someone to load in all my Shopify things. I don't want to sit up at 10 o'clock at night eating Pop Tarts, loading in my Shopify products anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. And so it was just these baby steps that kind of got me into a full-fledged real life business where I get to be the CEO now, right?
Yeah, and you're not sitting around with those free hours like eating bonbons on the couch. Although nobody wants to burn out and we need downtime, but you went out, you took that free time and you went out and generated more ROI, right? You are maxing out your bandwidth, you are increasing your visibility. Like you said, you're focusing on new customers and new leads and like that's the key here. It can be so scary though when you're at the beginning. And I think one of the things people miss when they start an online business is it does take ongoing capital, human capital to run it. And so if you can come in with that expectation and have a budget, you can absolutely find someone within your budget. I mean, I think when I was first starting out as a VA, a couple of my clients were like 5 hours a month, Sarah. And that's all. And when we hit 5, I would let them know. I'm like, do you want to continue? I think one of the things I was doing early was blogging because it was something I could take off the plate. It grows the email list, just feeds the Google algorithm. It's so easy. And it wasn't something that the client needed to do. I think she would write it and I would format it and like make it all pretty. But like anytime you have to fuss with a button, like maybe you shouldn't be doing it.
I fuss with the buttons every day. What are you talking about? As I'm working on email campaigns over here. But it's like, if I didn't have somebody answering the customer service emails and loading in the Shopify products and someone else shipping out the products over here, I wouldn't even have time to think about the email campaign that I want to run the rest of this week. Could I have somebody else do that? Sure, I could, but I like it. So that's why I choose to do it. I love the marketing and that's why I choose to do it. All the other stuff that I don't love, somebody else can do that. The social media, all the other things. And that's, I think, what you have to figure out. What is it that you love to do in your business? What is it that you dread doing? So you put it on the bottom of your to-do list, but it's really important. So it should be on the top of somebody else's to-do list. And so starting 5 hours a month is nothing for a business owner. If you can't afford 5 hours a month, you probably should rethink being in business because it does take investment. We have to invest in products. We have to invest in people. We have to invest in marketing. And if we're not willing to invest in those three things, we're never going to get anywhere in our business. It's going to be a side business. It's going to be a hobby business. It might pay you 1 month. It might not pay you at all the next month. But if you want this to be a legit business, we have to invest in all three of those things.
Yeah. And you hit on there with the drudgery zone, like whatever is not happening at the end of the week is a huge sign. And if it's important and if it helps the bottom line, that you should probably get help for it. Or maybe it's worth it to let go of some of those tasks and focus on things that actually do. Because I don't know about you, but it's easy for me to go down the wrong rabbit hole and procrastinate and feel like I'm being productive when it's not actually moving the needle. There's usually something very deeply buried in there, some kind of fear of success or scared to sell, like deep down. But something else magical happens when you have somebody on your team waiting on you to put that email into ActiveCampaign or MailChimp. You get it done because now there's a fire under you to show up in your business in a new way and be organized and be planned and not be rushing and not be last minute, be more strategic because you're paying someone to show up. And so that has been the biggest gift. I also write my own emails. I love it, but every now and then I want a vacation. I don't want to be tied to my ActiveCampaign and all of that. So having someone on my team who can even fill in or augment or write the first draft or at least like start plugging themselves into my workflow to make my life easy so that I could take July off and go to the beach. Like that's really the goal.
Absolutely. So let's talk about how our audience, my audience, could get in touch with your people. How do we find a VA? Like, what does this look like? Or a digital marketing assistant? What's the process to finding someone that you've kind of vetted for a role for them?
Yeah, I think it's scary when you're hiring. I've never not worked in an office where we hated doing the hiring process, and it's no different when we're a solopreneur or a small team. One thing we don't want to do is just go post in a Facebook group with 40,000 people and get inundated, right?
We
Like that.
don't? We don't wanna do that?
I mean, that's overwhelming if that's your style, but I think it's really important to be strategic in what you need help with. What are the outcomes you want? What are the responsibilities you want to offload, and be very clear with the job description, so we're setting this person up for success. And so of course one of the best things to do is a time audit. Like, watch yourself for a week or two. Nobody likes to hear this. See the tasks you're really doing that you can offload. And like you said, social media is a big one. Repurposing to social, pushing buttons. Write a job description off of that. But I think it's really smart to talk to your business peers. Like, you've curated this group, ask them who they're working with. I think the by name referrals are the best source. This online space has really exploded. There's a lot of VAs out there. There's a lot of people who present professional, and you just want to make sure you get the right person into your business, like you were talking about, somebody who cares about your business, who wants a long-term relationship, that they're going to be loyal, that they're going to show up as a strategic partner and grow into your business. So it's finding those good eggs. Usually, like, the referrals work really well. Ask your business friends. I've also curated a small group of marketing assistants and virtual assistants and some marketing managers inside my group, which is my membership is called the Digital Marketers Work Group. And we've made it really easy so you don't have to go through this whole hiring process on your own. We have a form. It's free. It's at hireaunicorn.com. You fill it out, we share it to our job board, and then we have up to 10 virtual assistants reach out to you with their skill sets. And it becomes about finding the right match. What do you need? Are they the right fit? Like, you're vetting each other. It's not a job interview. You're not hiring an employee. You're trying to see if you can come together and that your missions and your values align.
And I want to talk about that for a minute because I think personalities matter almost more than the skill sets sometimes. And I see that I have 3 different businesses and I've hired for each of those businesses and some of them recently. And I think that no matter what, you have to understand if your personality is going to work with their personality. Like, we have very different personalities and it doesn't make them right or wrong. But I go back to the Enneagram because I love the Enneagram, but I was interviewing for director of operations maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago now. And I had the last 2 people that I was interviewing, and one was just speaking the language of my business. She knew funnels, she knew the marketing, she knew the digital aspects, but her personality, and I asked her, "Are you an Enneagram 8?"
I was
And
going to
she
guess.
like, "I am." And I'm an Enneagram 4, and this time not work for me.
Mm-mm.
Then I get the other one who's not as knowledgeable in the digital space that I was in, like the other candidate, but her softness, her willingness, her eagerness, her reactions to some of the questions when we have something that's on fire was the way that
Mm-hmm.
I needed to be responded to. If an Enneagram 4 has an Enneagram 8 barking at them all day, it's not gonna end well, okay? And so this person was amazing, and I actually referred her to one of my business friends, and they're working great together, and I'm so glad that I was able to facilitate that relationship, but I knew for me that would never work.
Yeah.
I need softer. I'm a little bit more emotional, and if you talk to me in a very straightforward way, I might feel like you're mad at me, and I'm not gonna like that all day long, and so I need that, and so you have to recognize what you need, and then it's about personality types. I feel like I could train anybody to do the jobs that I need them to do within my business. If they have a little bit of skill set coming in, I can train you on what to need. Your personality, I can't train you on. And so that's something that's very, very important to me when I'm hiring someone is, are they willing to learn? Do they have a personality that works well with my personality? And somebody might want to Enneagram 8 all day long because they're no BS. They just get it done. There's no small talk. I need the small talk. I need the softness. I need the, "Hey girl." I need that in my life, but there's a lot of people that don't want that, and so that would turn them off. And so when you think about these relationships, Emily, I've had students of mine that have said, I tried hiring, it was a hot mess. I'm never going to do that now. It's just easier to do myself. How do we, as business owners, help the success of a virtual hire like this? How do we help facilitate the best possible outcome that we can?
I love this question because I think none of us are immune to it, to hiring mistakes, right? So, what do they say? Hire slow, fire fast. I actually just fired somebody on my team. So, I am a black kettle. Like, I'm going through it, and that's part of business. You don't know till you try. It's like dating, right? Like, you got to date, you got to try different types of foods, you have to try different types of men and figure out what you want. And it might be like that with a VA. It might not work out the first time. We
Right.
cannot carry that forever in business or we will never grow.
We will
So,
never
yeah,
grow.
yeah.
We will burn out so fast.
Yes.
It's something for me, and I try to tell my higher level mastermind ladies this often. We're responsible for this person. So a lot of times we're so busy that we don't set them up for success.
Yeah,
We just have expectations for them.
yeah.
So it's always about what can I do to help them be in my business? What can I do to help them learn my business? What can I do to adjust the outcome that I want in my business? And I think if you actually spend a little time with them, a lot of times we throw them in these roles. We're so dang busy. We don't give them proper training. We don't give them proper expectations. And then we're pissed off when our expectations are not met because we
Mhm.
haven't even communicated our expectations to someone.
That's
And
always
so,
it. That's always the
yeah.
expectations.
And if you can have a continuing, like I have a brand new executive assistant right now. She's been with me for a few months. It is a learning curve. I have never had an executive assistant. She has never been an executive assistant. So we are learning this role together. And sometimes she's like, okay, I'm so sorry. I'm like, please stop telling me you're sorry. We're figuring this thing out together. We'll get it figured out together. I got to communicate better because you can't read my mind. It's fine. And so I have to take ownership in that as a business owner. But also, we have to redirect. Our job with a contractor or an employee is to constant redirect to get the outcome we want. Having open communication, expressing what we want and not getting upset when we don't get what we want, but we've not communicated what we want. And so I think that's so important. Before we give up on somebody, I always ask myself this: have I done everything that I can do to help person be successful in their role? And if I can answer that 100% yes, then it's time to let them go. If I can say, you know what, I've been really busy, I have been out of town, I have not communicated what I wanted, I didn't make that very clear, I didn't give them set tasks or expectations for this week, I kind of dropped the ball on this. We're the leader here. And so for me, that's the conversations I have. What about you on the other end?
Yeah. Okay. I have so many thoughts here, Sarah, but like in that first call, really vetting them and do your homework. I know people are really anxious just to hire, but interview a couple people and start with the personalities, right? Like we want to enjoy the people on our team. That's why we're not working down the street at Capital One. Do a test project, right? Just test them out. If you don't get like all-star stellar performance from somebody on the test project or in those first 30 days, like they're not your person. Right? So like that's one thing I learned with my last hire. I'm like, wow, she really didn't start great. Like I should have let her go right away, just to be clear. Always check their portfolio, check their work if they have that. I know sometimes like copywriters might not have samples, but you wouldn't believe it. I have heard business owners hiring designers without looking at the designs and then being greatly disappointed. I'm like, you didn't do your homework. Like, you need to take leadership and ownership of your hire, right? And so then you talked about like onboarding this person. Here's the thing: an independent contractor, by law, Department of Labor here, has to come into your business with skills. So you're giving them the tour of your business, how you like to do things. When do you post things? Where do you store things? How do you file name things? You're giving them the tour, but they're supposed to come into your business trained. A lot of people make a mistake not bringing in somebody trained, and then we're crossing the employee contractor boundaries. So like that's a whole nother thing. If you are going to hire somebody who isn't trained, that's okay. Manage your expectations, right? Like work through that together, but just know that sometimes it might make sense to bring in the experienced executive assistant who has done it before. So it's not the blind leading the blind. You're not a new business owner, so like I'm not worried about you with that. But where I see problems is it's the new business owner, new VA, and they both don't know what they're doing. So sometimes pay a little bit more for that experience because that person could actually lead you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to add to this conversation is I have seen this a lot with my students. If someone on your team is not your cheerleader, they're not for you.
Oh, yeah.
Period. I don't know how many times I've had to have conversations with my members regarding a contractor or an employee on their staff that just butts heads with them over everything they ask, and to the point where they're afraid to launch something new. They're afraid to put something new out there because, oh, I don't know how my assistant's going to be able to, she's not going to like this. I'm like, she's not the business owner. And if you have somebody in your business that you're constantly afraid to take things to, that's not the right person in your business. It is a red flag, and it's time to really think about what you want. The best people on my teams are my biggest cheerleaders. They may think I'm crazy sometimes. And then there's the director of operations that says, "Whoa, whoa, 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 we don't have time in our schedule. We're going to have to push that back." And then we say, "Okay, fair, but we're still doing it." And so you have to have those people in your business that support what you want to do, that can see the vision that you see, and that will help take you there. You do not want the person that is constantly being negative about everything that you want to do and kind of squashing your ability to grow and flourish and see your vision.
Yeah, and on the same point, I can think about all the clients I've worked with. When did I feel the most valued is when I could bring ideas to the table and my client would listen, maybe do some of it, implement some of it, give me credit. It wasn't always about money. Like I wanted to feel a part of the team too. So I think eventually grooming your teammates to be autonomous, to have like we want that impact. We want to be a part of
Absolutely.
your business. We want to experience the ripple effect when you help clients. Like I get to feel good about myself, but I don't have to be the face of the business when I am the entrepreneur behind the scenes. So I don't know if this is good for me to say on your podcast, but I can be a little spicy. I'm going to say it. I feel like we're kind of in this like weird digital space where I think there's a lot of corporate dropouts who tried to do freelancing and they're
Mhm.
not doing well. And you got to think about this. Am I getting somebody who, I don't know, she had a baby break, she has a brain, like why is she in this situation where she wants to freelance, or am I getting someone who didn't work out in corporate? And why did they not work out? So maybe kind of testing for that within your discovery call, just making sure you get the good egg there. And I hate to even say that, but it is kind
No,
of the
but
culture.
if that's the spiciest that we're gonna get on my podcast, I can totally handle it because it's reality.
Yeah.
It's the reality. And you can take someone from the corporate world and get them inducted into your business, but why again, ask the questions why. Find out why, and does that reason set with you, right? That's the main question. Gosh, this episode has been so full of information. Emily, what I love is that we kind of have this common theme of helping women become financially independent through starting a business or supporting a business owner in your case. And so I think you have something that's going to hit my audience. I know I've talked to your group before and how they can be most helpful to my audience. And so when you pair those things together, it just makes sense to find someone in that group for what you're needing. I like to tell my students, we got to hire before we think we're ready, because when you're ready, it's too late. You feel behind and you get to the burnout stage really quickly. So it's time to hire. Maybe it's 5 hours a week. Ask yourself if you can afford 5 hours a week to have someone in your business, because I'm going to tell you it's game changer for you. 5 hours a week to have somebody to talk to about your business and strategize with you is game changer. Emily, where can they find you?
Well, if you want to find a marketing assistant, I'd be happy to share your job free in my work group. Just go to hireaunicorn.com. I also have a podcast. It's called, well, a new name. I don't know when this one's
Okay.
coming out, but the new name is all about the marketing freelancer. So if there is somebody on your team, share my
Mhm.
podcast with them because I'm all about helping women get better, be smarter, really embracing this growth mindset that we should have in business and keep learning. And so right now, if you just Google Unicorns Unite, you'll find me over there.
Okay, sounds awesome. You guys, don't wait to hire until you're overwhelmed and stressed. Let's do it now so that we can continue to grow our businesses. I'll be back next week with another great episode. Thanks for joining us on the Launch Your Box podcast. If you're looking to grow your audience, head over to launchyourbox.com and grab the 10 steps to help you start building your audience guide. It's packed with practical tips to help you connect your future subscribers. Until next time, keep launching and growing on your subscription box journey.